All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this next speaker is a phenomenon. Don't worry, if you don't know him, you'll get to know him. He's the visionary founder and CEO of Manual Games and the publisher of the African Games Industry Report. He's passionate about sharing authentic African stories through captivating mobile games, pushing boundaries, and redefining what's possible. With an eye for talent and a leadership style that fosters high performance and high performing teams, Hugo inspires both his colleagues and the burgeoning community of aspiring game professionals. He supports through the Game of Africa initiative. If your hands are not too busy, and even if they are, please put your hands together for Hugo Obi, the Lagos Game Week 2025. Keep clapping until he gets on stage. Keep clapping until he gets on stage. You can do better, guys. You can do better, guys. Can I hear a scream? Wow! Put your hands together for Hugo Obi!
Yeah, hi. Good morning. It's a real pleasure to be here today. And what a wonderful crowd. Please give a hand of applause to yourselves for making this video. So I've been given the unenviable task of doing the keynote address for the second year running for Lagos Games Week, which I think is a privilege. I think that that really speaks to the ethos and the philosophy behind this program for us, by us. And it also helps us to kind of like speak for ourselves in terms of where we are and where we're going. So my name is Hugo. I'm the founder of Nigerian Games. For those of you who don't know, Nigerian is a mobile games development studio based here in Lagos with a really cross-functional team of creators. One of the most popular games that we worked on was the Iwaju Rising Chef game as part of the Iwaju IP with Disney. But in addition to that, we also have quite a series of local games and like fun playables. We have an exhibition right outside, so you can go and meet the team and also see what the latest project that we're working on currently. I want to start by congratulating the organizers of this event. This is the second edition of Lagos Games Week, and it's really come at a really great time for the games industry, both here in Nigeria as well as Africa. And I'll speak to where we are as an industry and where we're headed. But really great work from the team for putting this together again. A round of applause to the organizers of this event. I also want to say a big thank you to the strategic partners and sponsors of this event, the French Embassy in Nigeria. They've been really, from the get-go, dedicated and really committed to that journey of driving this industry. There are very few that see the opportunities that we see, and they've been not just there to give us moral support, but also to provide the much needed financial support and also strategic technical support. So a big round of applause to the French Embassy in Nigeria for their unwavering support for the games industry in Nigeria. So I've been in the industry, I've been running video games for 13 years. So I've really seen like multiple phases of the games industry here in Nigeria. And like that enables me to kind of like have a much richer, a much deeper perspective of how we're changing, what is driving that change, what is currently happening, and what is to come. And I'm going to speak about that during this talk. And I know that some of these words might sound new and strange, but try and understand the story that is being told or the story that is being shared as I speak. So I think the first thing is kind of like do a look back, especially just like a short-term look back, like what has happened in the last 12 months since Lagos Games Week last year. Um, and I'm going to look at this from four perspectives. I think like there are four key areas that are going to drive this industry. And the first one is talent. Like we have an abundance of them in the room, both aspiring talents, talents that are already working in the industry, and some few veterans, as well as our colleagues from France who are here to join us today. So that's a key part of that journey and that story. The second one is product. As an industry, we are creating games, and there's a variety of games being created for platforms like consoles, like PC, like mobile, and also even VR. And what is that? What are those products that are being created? I think the third one is more around ecosystem. Like those communities where you can go and play games, interact with people who are making games, understand more about the games industry. And then the last one is going to be more around investments, because games requires a great degree of effort, and that effort also requires capital to drive that production, that distribution, like that, continuous development that you get in games. So the last 12 months, like the global games industry is going through a phase right now, and it's an interesting one. So there is some challenges, not just here on ground, but around the world, especially with like content, how those contents is being served, how users or players are interacting with those contents, and that's like creating this like pressure point that is making it difficult for like new content to that's making it difficult for smaller studios, for new voices to be heard. So the established players, the big players, like your Epic Games, your Riot, your EA, your Ubisoft, well-established big IPs dominate the market. And the cost for acquiring users is becoming increasingly larger. But what that also presents is an opportunity for small teams, for more cost-effective teams, for like different ideas to come in and like shift the way people perceive, interact, and engage with this content. And looking at this market, we're seeing that confidence coming through, and a lot of new talents coming through with their games for PC, for console, obviously for mobile. Like we've seen the recent release of a game, of a trailer of a game called Reloaded this is by a team in South Africa, but also like recent features for games from teams here in Nigeria with Touchdown, Go North, and in between, who were winners of the pitch state competition yesterday, who are really emerging with this new titles that is designed for global appeal and global audiences. And this is just in the last 12 months. So we've seen an increase in the number of talents coming through, and that is fantastic. And those talents are coming with them games. Like the question around platform and what platform should we be prioritizing, what platform should we be creating for, is still one that I think is ongoing. Like when building games, you have to prioritize whether you want to build games for PC, whether you want to build games for mobile, or you want to build games for console. The challenge around those comes on the distribution side. Like how do you reach those PC players, how many PC players are around you, how many console players are around you, how many mobile players are around you. And I think that a market like ours, like we need to maybe focus more on those audiences that we can reach more easily and more effectively, and those are audiences that are near us and are close to us. And that platform that we should be prioritizing, not saying that we should think about the other platforms, but certainly mobile has the most reach for our local audience. So when we think about then the distribution, the financial investment required to accelerate that content reach or the ability for that content to reach audiences, mobile is still the most effective when it comes to that. So, like investment has really dried up globally. Like as everybody starts to rethink, like the right business model, think about distribution, think about types of content and how this content gets into the hands of players. So it's increasingly more difficult to get investment. However, again, I think that that still presents an opportunity because you have an untapped market and an untapped region. And I think that if we can learn anything from the past, is that like Nigeria has an abundance of creativity, and once we have the technical ability, we can create content and we can create things that people want, not just here, but also abroad. And what that means for investors is that this is really the entry point. This is that opportunity to come in when the market is still very, very green, as opposed to coming in at a point when the market is like more mature. And that investment is required to accelerate the market adoption of those things. That is really where that investment should go to. It's into looking at companies or studios or individuals who already have content, and that content can go to market, and then obviously the business model required to make those games a success. And then the last one is really about community ecosystem. Like I think this event being a very good one. We have Africonicate, which also has been around for a few years now. Ourselves, we run in Game of Africa, our talent initiative. We also do the Africa Games Industry Report. And these are like, and then we also do the monthly meetups that we organize. And these are really ways that we can continue to come together as an industry, come together as creators to share our experiences and share our knowledge, and also connect with ourselves, find talent, look for people to co-produce with, spot emerging trends, and as well connect with the outside world, which I think is incredibly important. So we're here today, explore the exhibition space, play the games, give the team's feedback, and then keep sharing us on. If you're not part of the industry yet, talk about us. Tell your friends, tell your family. Have that desire. I would love for somebody to come to me and say, hey, listen, I want to go work for you in 5 years' time. This is my name. This is what I'm passionate about. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are passionate, who are energetic, who are talented. Right? Games development is a highly skilled industry. Highly skilled industry. It requires engineers, designers, artists, data scientists, audio engineers, narrative designers, so it's a vast area of opportunity. And we're looking for that next generation of creators who have the confidence to be able to build something for people around them. So enjoy today and thank you very much for having me.